All right, welcome to another episode of Botox and Burpees. I'm here with Laura Romanek, legit. She's my special guest today, and we're going to be talking about her experience. She is a long-time, very dedicated fitness enthusiast, athlete, CrossFit athlete, recently diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And I wanted to talk to her about her life, her experiences with that. This is something that I think, honestly, a lot of people more than I think we probably know out in the surface, shallow area, that deal with autoimmune issues, things that are very difficult to handle. And so I really appreciate you, legit, for coming and willing to share and speak. I know you're like, time to be vulnerable. And I was like, yeah, I know it's not easy. So I want to thank you, legit, for coming on and talking today.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so I've known you for a long time. I want to say at least 10 years or plus, maybe.
It's been a long time. I've been in CrossFit too. So.
Yeah. So tell me your background. So what do you want to share with people about you, like who you are, your life?
Yeah, I mean, we could just start from CrossFit, right? Started
Yeah.
CrossFit in 2013.
Okay.
I actually lost a bet to my brother, and I had to end up trying a class.
He's a pretty good CrossFitter
He
himself.
used to be. I'm kidding. I had to end up trying a class, and I never looked back. 2015, I got my L1, got my L2. I coached for 7 years, and yeah, it's just been my life ever since. I was like an athlete growing up. I played every single sport, known to man.
Mm-hmm.
Then in my 20s, I moved and I just kind of lived my life and did what I wanted to. And then I came back and I got right back into it. And here I am 11 years later, at Bison.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Fairlawn.
Oh, okay. So not
Yep.
far.
No, not far at all.
And do you remember your first CrossFit workout that you ever did?
Oh, God, it was kettlebell swings. I think I used like a 20-pound kettlebell. I could barely lift it over my head. Burpees maybe, and lunges. Something easy. It was like an on-ramp class. So it wasn't anything crazy, but.
And what appealed to you that first time when you were doing it? Like, what was it that you were like, this is something I like
It
doing?
just felt like a gym class.
Yeah.
Everybody was together. Everybody was doing the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It was kind of like race to who's going to finish first,
Yeah.
And I loved that. And I wanted that back in my life. So.
You were coaching at Hawthorne and you were there for a long time.
I was there for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, I think one of the guys who owned it is now part of
Station Athlete.
Yeah, Station. And I actually see him. He's podcasting. He's doing a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you miss that? That old gym, Hawthorne and that full crew? Because CrossFit's changed over the past 10 years.
Yeah. I definitely think that I wouldn't be the coach I am if I didn't coach there. Dave was awesome. He was an awesome guy.
Dave Whitson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I definitely met like the most amazing people there. So I definitely miss it. But yeah, it definitely brought me to be who I am now for sure.
What are the proudest moments or the things that a couple moments you remember most vividly about your CrossFit sort of experience so far?
I mean, like anybody can say like, oh, I PR'd my snatch, or I got first place in a competition.
Yeah.
Like awesome, right?
Yeah.
I think for me, like some of my proudest moments are just being able to see people that I coached accomplish things that they couldn't accomplish before, inside and outside the gym. I think that's what kept me going all the time, is just seeing other people thrive and be able to better themselves. Just made me happy. So it wasn't always about me, it was a lot of times about just other people and what they can do. So
let's talk about, you've been at Bison for how many years now? Like 3, 4? I don't feel like.
I think we're going on 4.
Wow. Yeah. That's really, yeah. You've been here for a long time, and I've watched you and you move so well. Like, obviously, I think probably barbell movements. I mean, you're good at everything. Like, I've seen you with your bar muscle ups and, your gymnastic work, and you have a motor and obviously you have a mental push and drive, which you really need to perform well in CrossFit workouts. But like, I really think your barbell movements, you're really good at lifting, snatch work, super fast in terms of accelerating and all that.
Thank you.
Where are you? What division are you competing like at
I
now?
am now in 40.
Wow, that's crazy. Does that feel weird?
Being 40?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, this is my second open in the 40
Mm,
category.
mm.
Um, does it feel weird? Does it feel different? I thought I was gonna be at the top,
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah. The worst.
first year.
Yeah.
And then this year wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the trail I wanted to go on.
So you were diagnosed, you just told me, with rheumatoid arthritis in March, which is like 2 months ago.
No, like
Oh, March of last year.
yeah,
Wow. Oh, so it's been like 14 months.
yeah.
Um, when did you first notice that there was something going on with your body?
So I mean, we all have like aches and pains. I've been in CrossFit 11 years, right?
You telling me?
So a little bicep tendonitis or elbows,
Right,
stuff like that. But one day it was the day of the quarterfinals, the first day of the quarterfinals, and I woke up and my wrist was blown up, and it didn't feel like an injury, you know. So I immediately texted Dave, and I'm like, Dave, I don't think I can do quarterfinals.
Dave Syvertson.
Yeah, and I did so good in the open, and I'm like, okay, here's the next step. But I'm like an all or nothing person, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
even if I'm not feeling great, I'm still gonna push it if
Yeah.
I know it's gonna be worth something for me,
Right.
So my wrist blew up, and the whole day I'm like praying, like, please go down, please go down, please go down. It doesn't. So at nighttime, I'm about to do the workout, and I wrap my wrist, and then I wrap it with a wrist wrap, and I think the workout was snatches, and I'm like, this is gonna be great for me,
Yeah.
right? It's not gonna be great for me if I don't have a wrist, right? So I do the workout, and we're good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Little sore,
Yeah.
this and that. I go to sleep, wake up the next morning, it's like it never happened. But then my left wrist blew up, and I'm like, okay, something's wrong, right? Like, I can't have pain in my hand or my wrist for 16 hours.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it goes away like never happened. And now it's on this wrist.
That's really freaky.
Right. So I'm like, hello, Google. Like, let me see what's going on.
Yeah. So what did Dr. Google say for you?
That I'm dying. No.
That's what it always says.
I mean, I get into things when I need to figure things out.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to get to the nitty gritty bottom of it.
Yeah.
And the first thing that popped up was like rheumatoid arthritis.
Really?
Yeah.
Migrating, like joint pain, wrist pain.
Yeah. Once it pops from one side to the other side, it's pretty well known that it would be RA, but of course you have to get tons of blood work and tons of tests and rheumatologists and the whole nine to really get a full diagnosis.
So just from the fact that you had an episode of wrist pain that migrated to the other side, you're like, I need to go get evaluated for this?
My aunt and my uncle both had autoimmune diseases.
Okay.
So I knew it ran in the family.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, if it runs in the family, let me see if Google says it runs in the family. You know what I mean? And then I was like, yeah, it's probably that. I wanted to prep myself before I went there, and he told me, right? Or I got the blood work and they told me.
Oh, so did you make the appointment with the doctor
Yeah.
and get blood work at the same time?
Yeah, it was all like I went to my primary.
Yeah.
My primary was like, all right, we got a rheumatologist in the same building. Let's go to him. Went to him, told him my symptoms. He's like, let's go get blood work.
And there were no other symptoms at that time?
Not that I could really recall in like that type of pain. I know that like the end of 2023,
Yeah.
I was getting sick a lot. And it was taking me a long, long time.
Like colds and stuff?
Yeah, colds and like ear infections and stuff that's just like crazy. And I was just not getting better. I would be on bouts and bouts of like even prednisone and antibiotics, and I just wouldn't get better. So that's the only thing that I could think of that like was the beginning of it that I didn't really notice.
I see.
Yeah, but it came on very quick.
And then you got the blood work, and what did it show you?
So I had gotten blood work in December of 2023. I got blood work in 2023, in December of 2023.
Why?
And I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think it might have been just a routine blood work. My life has been a whirlwind in the last year and a half, so like timing is just a little off for me.
Yeah.
And it said that I had a low positive ANA.
Okay, which is the antibodies, like
Anti-nuclear
yes,
antibodies.
which show that your body's sort of attacking
Right.
itself to a certain.
So that pretty much told him that something's hanging out,
Yeah.
right? But we don't know what it is.
Right.
Right.
Right. Some sort of self-inflammatory condition, but that's very non-specific.
Right.
Could be all sorts of
And
stuff.
you can have that and be healthy.
Right.
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 You can have a positive ANA and not have anything.
Right.
Right. So March comes, I get blood work, and my anti-CCP level,
Mm-hmm.
right? You should be under 20,
Mhm.
I believe,
Mhm.
to be negative,
Mhm.
right? Over 60 is positive.
Mm-hmm.
My number was over 250.
Wow. And that's a pretty specific test. That's not a general, like, non-specific test.
And with that test, came like the RF factor,
Right.
like
Rheumatoid factor.
which was negative.
Okay.
But because my anti-CCP level was so high,
Yeah.
that's what they really use to diagnose RA with, is that number. It has nothing to do with the RF or a lot of the times.
Right. Because that's variable. It can be up, it can be down.
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my God. I can't believe I'm remembering this stuff from like 30 years ago in med school.
so it was over 250.
Yeah.
But some tests will give you the number.
Yeah.
Right. And other tests won't. So if you're over 250, it's more progressive,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's faster onset.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be more erosion,
Mm-hmm.
right? My last blood work I got an actual number,
Mm-hmm.
which is 597.
Whoa, that's pretty high.
It's really high.
Yeah.
It's really high.
So when you got this information, how did you feel? Like what was going through your head at that point?
I was like, this sucks.
Okay, yeah. Yes, for sure.
Yeah. I didn't really know what to think of. I knew that I was having terrible flare-ups, right? It's just going to be my life for the rest of my life. Like, how am I going to feel better? Like, I'm not feeling better, right? And when it first happened, they put me on prednisone, right? Because that's the only thing that they can really put you on,
Right.
until they start putting you on all the other things.
Right. Yeah, they got to put out the fire first.
Right. So I was on prednisone,
Yeah.
and obviously it didn't work.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that's when I started my whole journey of all the medicines that I take now.
So you got diagnosed, you're having these symptoms, you're feeling terrible.
Terrible.
What was there anything that helped you sort of get through this phase in terms of supporting you or feeling like, you had things to rely on, people, anything? Like what was it that sort of was in your life at that point?
I think like the scariest part for me was that like you can have predisposed, right? You can be predisposed to RA for sure, but something needs to trigger that in order to come out, right? I went through a really, really emotional time at the beginning of last year and the beginning of this year, which set off RA, which I still haven't come to terms with, that the stress and the emotional like turmoil that I went through is what brought this all out. So I was in fight or flight, right? And when you're in fight or flight, right, your cortisol levels are usually an anti-inflammatory.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
But when your body is in fight or flight for so long,
Correct.
right, it does the complete opposite.
Correct.
So now my body is attacking my body, right? And how do you tell your mind, right, to tell your body to calm down when your mind's thinking one thing and your body's doing another, right? So that's what brought on all the flare-ups, was the stress. So once I could bring the stress down, right, the flare-ups start to go away a little bit. So that's kind of how that is.
How do you deal with the stress?
No idea. I'm still working on it.
Okay. Because you're a fighter. Like, I know you. Like, I've known you. And it's not easy to get to know you. Let's put it that way. Like, I won't say you're prickly, but, like,
Thanks.
you're a good needler. Like, every time I see you, like, I know you now. And so, like, I take everything well. But you always got that little, like, you jab people that you love. I know that. I know that. And so
Definitely do.
So but if people don't know you, it's not always so easy to get to know you. So
Right.
And I know that you are a fighter, you are a pusher, you are someone who takes no prisoners a lot of times. And so like that's not a calming Zen kind of mentality to have. So, but you now know that stress, of all forms can be very unhealthy.
Right.
So you've got to be doing something to help yourself, no?
I mean, when you're in it, it's hard,
Yeah.
right? Because you could be stressed out about one thing,
Yeah.
and then you're stressed out that you're stressed out, right?
Right.
And then you're like, how do I get out of this?
Right. Stop
Right?
stressing out.
Stop stressing out,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, unfortunately, I've been in like a 2.5 month flare up this year
Oh,
already.
okay.
And like I told you before, we started the podcast, I think the last 5 days have been good for me.
Yeah.
Right? I haven't really felt any pain. I always have tingly pinkies and fingers, but
Oh, really?
yeah, there's always something brewing. But yeah, I haven't been in much pain. I've been able to really like execute at the gym, which is awesome. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm falling off track. What was the question?
Oh, so other things to deal with the stress. I know gym helps you deal.
Yeah, the gym is great, but unfortunately, sometimes I go to the gym and I can't do everything, and
Right. And then it's frustrating. Yeah.
yeah. Talking to my friends is great. Still very hard for them to understand. It's very hard for people to understand.
It's a
disease.
complicated
Uh,
issue.
And sometimes, it's like, oh yeah, my grandma has arthritis. I'm like, I'm not gonna go into what it is, Yeah.
So, have you changed other parts of your life? I mean, I want to get into the medications a little bit, but I want to talk about like what other parts of your life have you changed, like diet or sleep or anything. Like, what else do you find helpful or not helpful in terms or of trying to manage like your overall health at this point?
Yeah, so getting to the gym, excites me, makes me happy, which brings my stress level down.
Okay.
Um, I eat very plain, like rice and meat. I don't even eat a vegetable, which I probably
Yeah, you should.
every now and again, but a lot of times it's just salmon or steak or
Okay.
chicken or, the normal things. Um, yeah, I don't really.
Do you do anything else outside of like what are your interests outside of
Oh, I
gym?
mean, I love hanging with my friends.
Okay.
Music, but like I'm very simple, I'm like a very like go with the flow kind of person.
Mm.
But it's like the gym. It's eat, sleep,
Mhm.
gym, and
Repeat.
repeat. When you get to this age, it's like you can't go play with your friends. You can't ring a doorbell and play with your friends. So
So what medications have you started and are you on now? And what have you found that has been helpful for you? Because there's so many new medications out there.
yeah, when I first got diagnosed, they put me on prednisone,
Yeah.
very very high dosage.
Yeah. How high? Just do you remember how high they?
40,
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
20 in the morning, 20 at night.
Yeah.
And then I got put on Plaquenil
Yeah. That's pretty like almost everyone I know on
2
here.
times a day.
Yeah.
And methotrexate pills.
Also fairly toxic. Like there's some side effects to that.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Right? Is your liver and your
Yeah.
kidneys.
I mean, it's literally an anti-cancer drug. Like it's chemo.
Right.
It's literally
both of them are.
Yes. Like methotrexate is a little more toxic, I would say, than the Plaquenil that I've seen. But go ahead.
And then I got diagnosed with high blood pressure because of
The prednisone.
yeah. So I'm on my high blood pressure meds.
Which one are you on now?
I am on amlodipine, I
Okay.
think it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also have to take folic acid now.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
it's always take this for that.
Right.
For that.
Yeah.
And then so the methotrexate pills.
Yeah.
Bothered me. Really bothered me. I think I was like 4 days tapped out of 7, just feeling crummy.
Like just crummy overall or GI symptoms? Or...
Yeah, GI symptoms, tired.
Yeah.
Just aggravated.
Yeah.
So I got put on injections.
Oh, okay.
So now I do methotrexate injection every Monday.
Okay.
Every week, and I take Humira now.
Okay.
Injections.
All right.
Every 2 weeks.
Self or you go someplace?
I do it all myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
You found that scary to inject yourself?
No.
Okay.
No.
In your belly or?
I can't do my belly. I do my legs.
Oh, like your quad?
Yeah, my quad.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's really. It's better to do it myself than to have somebody do it, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then now I'm of course back on. The whole time I was still taking. We were trying to wean myself off the prednisone because
Right.
we really shouldn't be on that a long time.
Of course.
So I got myself down to like 5 milligrams.
Okay.
The beginning of this year, everything ramped back up, and I had emailed my doctor and said, we got to get on something else, and I need to up this prednisone because I need to get out of this. Like it was mentally and physically exhausting being in a flare-up every day.
What is the worst symptoms with a flare-up when you're really flaring? Like, what do you feel?
Oof. this is like the hard part. This is like the hard thing to explain to people.
Yeah.
Um, I've never broken a bone, but I've like sprained my ankle, like playing basketball and stuff like that, or I've jammed my finger,
Yeah.
right? That initial feeling where you have no stability,
Yeah.
right? And your finger, your ankle swells up,
Yeah.
right? It feels like that. It's like a deep throbbing pain, and sometimes it feels fiery, like your joints are on fire. And as the flare up continues, as the hours go on, you lose your range of motion or your mobility. You get a lot of like pinching, right? Because the swelling is now pinching on everything else.
Right, because the tissue's so swollen at that point.
Yeah. So that's, yeah.
And which joints does it affect the most for you?
So in the beginning, it was just my wrists and my fingers,
Mm-hmm.
which I was like, all right, this isn't terrible, but it's not great, right? Like I have very good range of motion in my wrist.
Yeah.
When I'm in a flare up, it's like this.
Mm.
You can't turn a knob or anything. As it progressed, it goes to my hips now, my knees, my ankles, my shoulders. Any joint that's a joint, I think I've probably had a flare up in. Yeah.
And this disease can be erosive. So do you feel like you're losing function?
I'm so scared about that.
Yeah. So how do you feel about that?
So every time you're in a flare up, right, it's eroding at like the synovial fluid, which is around your joints.
Right. The fluid that's cushioning your joint and is like lubricating the joint to a lot.
So that's why like back in the day, you see a lot of people with their fingers.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't medicine to like help that.
Oh no, I remember doing surgery where we did joint replacements for like finger digits and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I am very hypermobile too, which is more susceptible to joint issues. So I lost my track.
Yeah. So you're losing function? You're afraid of losing function?
Yeah, I'm really afraid of losing function. Every time I'm in a flare up, and since I've been in a flare up for 2.5 months, I'm like, what is happening?
Have you noticed loss of function yet though?
No, it's like so weird because, one day you feel like absolute crap. Right. And then the next day you're like, what? Nothing happened. You know what I mean? So I don't know. And the only way to really tell is to do like x-rays and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, to see what the joint looks like.
Yeah.
And have they looked okay?
Not yet. When they haven't taken any yet.
Okay.
But when I feel good, I feel good. So maybe there's nothing wrong. Like I don't want to
Right, check until
I
yeah, I'm sort of the same way. I don't want to look
any more stuff.
Right. I don't want to look unless I actually have to do something about it. Right. I don't want to know. So then at the gym, how has your movement patterns been? What's your performance been like? Like, what have you been doing with that?
So I try to bike on the C2 a little bit before and after the workout.
Okay.
Just because I've had a lot of like hip and like groin pain in the joints.
Yeah.
So I just try to keep my legs moving.
Yeah.
And stretch a little bit. But like, honestly, like, do I need to do that? Like, I don't know. I don't, because it's not an injury. So like, I don't want to treat it like an injury.
I see.
Right. Scaling, like, I think I scaled so much and I was still in a flare up that I eventually just said I have to rest. I can't do anything. Right. Because when you work out, your body gets inflamed. And if I'm already inflamed, now I'm inflaming my body even more.
Right.
That's just a recipe for disaster. So I rest usually.
Do you take NSAIDs or anything else at all?
I can't.
Okay.
I can't with all the medicine.
Yeah.
I think I'm already destroying my liver and my kidneys with everything I'm taking.
Right.
And that's just going to do them more damage.
Did you work out this week?
I did.
How many days?
What day is it today?
Today is Thursday.
2 days. I took yesterday off.
Okay, so you worked out Monday and Tuesday, and you did both workouts. And did you RX them? Did you scale them?
I RX'd them. Yeah.
Yeah, and how'd it feel?
Monday was great.
Yeah,
I loved Monday's work.
Which one was Monday again?
Double unders.
Oh yeah, the 75 double unders. Was it burpees?
No, double unders. Dumbbell snatches.
Double snatches.
And bar muscle ups.
Yeah, and you did all of it.
I did.
Yeah, you're
not level 1, level 2.
Right, the bar muscle ups and 35-pound dumbbell snatches.
Yeah.
And you got through it.
Yeah.
And your time was good.
I think so.
So that's where someone would be like, okay, you have RA, you're dealing with all this stuff, but you're not flaring up right now. You're feeling pretty good. And I don't think I would finish that workout. And I don't have any autoimmune issues. So someone might look at you and be like, not really understanding
Yep.
what's going on. Like, how do you deal with that? Like, that you could actually perform on a high level like that? Because I don't think, I would say half the gym would RX ever finish it. Like, so.
I think a lot of people don't think it's believable, right? They don't believe me,
Yeah.
which is fine, right? You can see my medicine cabinet if you like, you know, or
Right.
all my needles and all of that stuff.
Right.
But like I said, it's not an injury, right? And you might not see it on the outside, but internally, that's where it is, right? That's what's going on. So you can't really judge somebody by their performance one day, because there's been times that I've done a workout and I pushed it too hard and I was in a little flare up and I was out for like a week, right? So you really can't tell. And I think that's the scary part. And that's why I kind of like give up sometimes talking to people about it, because it's like I can't drill it in your mind enough. Like, yes, I know that I'm a good athlete, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty high in the chain at the gym, right? In performance wise,
Yeah.
right? But that's maybe just on one day, right? It's not an everyday thing anymore.
Has that been important to you your whole life in terms of how good you are compared to everyone else at the gym? I think it is.
I wouldn't say like compared to everybody else, right? Everybody has their own
Standards.
where they're at in
Right.
their CrossFit career, right?
Right.
I think I'm hard on myself,
Right.
right? And there are people that I push to go against. But I think as I've grown up, I'm not so much about let me be the top scorer,
Yeah.
right? It's more about moving well, right? And knowing what I can do. And just because I could do it doesn't mean that like I'm snotty about it in a way, you know?
Yeah, but let's suppose you get to the point where you're sort of having chronic issues, can only do single unders, 20-pound snatches, 15, and ring rows. And that's sort of where you are every day. Would you come to the gym? Would you do what you do, like in terms of working out?
Not think about that.
I'm just saying, because like that's the mental part of it. I mean, eventually we're all going to get there at some point, like but we think it's not going to be till we're 80 or 90 or something like that.
No, I mean, you're right, right? So the other day we had front squats.
Yeah.
Right? I think my old 1 rep max was 190, 195, right? I was also 140 pounds. When I got RA.
Where are you now?
120.
Okay.
When I got RA, I lost 20 pounds within a month.
Okay.
Just depleted everything.
Yeah.
Right? So the workout, which was the wall balls and the burpees, I crushed, right? Get me on a heavy barbell now, and I couldn't even front squat 165 pounds. And so for me, that's like, wow, right? Look what this has done to me, right? And people will come to me and be like, oh, well, pound for pound, you could still lift more than me. It's like, great. But, right, where you thought you were at and now where you're at now is like a completely different. That's where the mind games come into play.
You don't know how this condition is going to progress. It could remit,
right?
And you could have a complete like remission,
right?
It could be much worse. Like, is that uncertainty? Like,
it's scary.
Yeah,
it's really scary
because so much of your who you are is tied up with your ability to perform, and you're basically not knowing whether or not you could perform a month from now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now.
It's like the being unreliable in a way too, right? Like I don't know what the next day is going to bring, right? And it's frustrating, and it's like mentally exhausting and emotionally exhausting, because like I said, it's a lot of the stress that brings it on too. Like, how do I stop that? You know what I mean? Like, you could meditate and you could take a walk and you could do all this.
Do you do those?
I do. But when you come back, it's still all there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just getting yourself out of that mental thing.
If I was a psychologist, I mean, or I imagine a psychologist would say, okay, legit, but maybe you need to like not have your self-esteem and your identity bound up in what you're doing at the gym. And maybe you need to find other ways to define yourself. Like, have you thought about that in some way? Like, who am I? And if I am not crazy elite RX athlete at this point, maybe I have to find something else that really validates me and makes me who I am at this point.
I think I allow the people that I want to know or want to know me, right? And the other people, you could look at me as just an athlete at the gym, right? So there's definitely depth in me outside of the gym, right? There's definitely a Laura outside of the gym, right? Legit's in the gym. Laura's outside of the gym.
I almost forgot. Why are you nicknamed Legit? That was something that I think I asked a long time ago. I forgot maybe what the answer was.
Yeah, so like you said before, like I hone in on my technique and my movement patterns and standards. And early on in my CrossFit career, I was snatching at night, and I'm snatching and I put it down, and somebody goes, "That's legit." And I'm like, "What?" They're like, "That's it. That's your name. That's what we're gonna call you from now on." And I'm like, "Legit?" They're like, "Yeah, legit." I'm like, "Okay." And it's just stuck the whole time. I mean, there's times still now 11 years later where people will go, "Hey, Laura, this and that." Who? Legit. Oh, legit. Okay.
So nobody calls you Laura anymore?
Um,
Your mom, dad, I don't know, family?
yeah, I mean, half the time my brother calls me legit, you know? It just depends. People that have known me for my whole CrossFit career and inside and outside,
Yeah.
they'll call me Laura.
Okay.
But yeah, it doesn't really matter what I go by, you know? I like legit though.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't think it was gonna carry all the way to 41 years old, but
It sticks out. I mean, it's memorable.
it is.
Nobody forgets that.
Nobody forgets.
Do you care if they give you shit for it or anything like that? You never care.
No.
I know you don't. You do and you don't sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is it that you think people don't effing know about RA that they really ought to know? Like, because I figure people would be like, you know what? It's autoimmune. Have you tried this? Have you tried this nutritional therapy? Have you tried this alternative, way of doing things? Have you tried all the sorts of offbeat type things?
I think there are a lot of people that get diagnosed with autoimmune and immediately are like, what are all the things I can do that are anti-inflammatory and that will help me so I never have to take medicine?
Right.
And this and that.
Yes.
I don't want to define my life saying I have RA, right? So unless I really need to change something in what I'm doing, I'm not going to change it, right? I don't think my diet's that bad, so I'm not going to change that.
So you're not going to be doing the green smoothie loaded with like this, that, or
unless I want one just to have one,
right?
But I'm not going to base my whole life on it. I can't, right? Then you become consumed in your disease. I don't want to become consumed, right? Because then it takes over, right? And that's what I don't want it to do, is take over my life.
So, what else have you done to sort of live a quote normal life at this point? Anything else?
No, not really. I mean, I'm still living my life the way I am. I'm just unfortunately.
Do you go drinking? Do you?
Yeah, I definitely go out and enjoy myself for sure, but I know I'm going to pay the price.
Okay. Do you pay it more now? Wait, do you wear a Whoop, by the way?
I don't anymore.
Yeah, you used to shit on me for my Whoop because I had the worst stats always.
I probably would have the same stats as you had back in the day now. I think I got rid of it because I was like, I've been in the red for 2 months. I don't want to keep being in the red.
Right.
I'm paying $30 a month and I'm not doing anything with it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm still doing the same thing that I do every day and it's not changing. So no point.
How many hours of sleep do you get a night?
Now that I'm on prednisone, not much.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? It gets you all jittery and stuff?
Oh yeah, it gets me jacked up. I think this morning I woke up at 5:10.
Wow.
And I was ready to go.
Really? And what time did you go to bed?
11:30.
Wow. Yeah, that's not awesome.
And I used to go to bed at like 9.
Okay.
And wake up at like 7.
You're a fighter, so you're almost resisting the fact that like you don't want these things to change. Like you are, like you're taking all the medications, you're doing all the things that you need to do, but you're also like not going to, like, if there's a pot, like you don't know if some of these alternative things might help or not, but you're not going to try them.
I just want it to go away, to be honest. You know what I mean? Can I manifest it to go away? Like totally.
You think you could?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
It was brought on by stress. You think I could manifest it out of me? Absolutely not. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to change anything, and like maybe that's defiant of me.
It is defiant of you.
Right. And that's fine. But, I'm a single person. I live on my own, healthy stuff costs a lot of money too. Right. And I don't know. I don't like failing. So I don't have to try something and it fails and try something and it fails. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I get that.
If I can stick to what I know and it's working right now, then like let's just continue on with that. You know,
Do you have pets?
I do. I have a dog.
Oh, yeah? And has that dog been a rock for you?
He's lazy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She's just chilling. He's just hanging,
So has there been anything bright, like in the past year and 2 months, that you could say, you know what, this was like one of the best things that, like, not the RA, but like something within it that, like, you were like, you know what, this was, out of all the crap I had to deal with, this was something that really stood out as good. Nothing.
I'm alive,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm.
I'm dealing with this.
Mm.
Um, I've been so intertwined with what's going on and like trying to figure it out and trying to get myself better
Mm-hmm.
that like just being able to wake up
Mm-hmm.
on a day and not feel pain is
Mm-hmm.
is good for me.
I don't want to get into your personal life, but obviously a lot of emotional stress is due to relationships and other issues. How have your relationships with people changed? Do you have anything that you could give in terms of advice, in terms of people with relationships, or how you've coped with that? Like, what could we learn from your experience in terms of that? Because I know that gets super complicated.
I mean, I think number one, be kind to people, right? You don't know what somebody's going through at all. Um, I think that I'm going to lose my train of thought here. You can only control what you can control, right? So I think the best thing is just to let things get to you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm still losing my train of thought.
How do you approach your relationships with people differently now because of that? Like, because, obviously some of this is all the stress due to all of that. So do you do anything differently? Do you approach people differently? Do you see people differently? I don't know. Anything that from this experience that you would give advice to?
Yeah, so I think I was always a go big or go home,
Hmm.
right? Put everything I have into somebody or something
Mm-hmm.
and don't keep anything for myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's blown up,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because when you lose that,
Mm-hmm.
you just lost your whole self.
Right, because you put so much into that,
Right.
whatever it is.
Right. So I'm definitely learning I think it's bad, right? I was very anxious
Mm-hmm.
in relationships. And I
Mm-hmm.
think now I'm very like, uh, I'm very dismissive about it now, right? I
Is
don't,
that good?
no, it's terrible, right? You want to be able to give somebody something of
Right,
you,
right,
right? And I used to do that all the time.
right.
But now I just feel like I got to focus on myself,
Yeah,
right? And I have to have or keep some things to myself,
yeah,
right? Because when you give it all out
yeah.
and you get,
Right.
it
And you lose it.
and you lose it, you're like, wow, where's my,
Right.
you know?
So do you feel like at some point in your life you're going to get back to that point where you can do that?
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so, right? But I'm really just focusing on myself right now.
Yeah.
Um, I can't worry about other people. Like I really can't worry about what other people think of me or what they've heard about me or anything. Or if you want to be in my life, right? Like I have friends that are really there for me and have been there through everything, right? And those people are my rocks,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you want to come into my life, come into my life, right? And this is where you're going to say I'm like brash, right? If you want to come into my life, come into my life. But if you don't, I don't care,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't have the mental and emotional capacity right now to deal with anybody else but myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that might sound really bad, but
No, absolutely not. I don't think anyone who's dealing with something like this would have the bandwidth to, like, be a Mother Teresa or like somehow like be expansive to every
I mean,
one
there's
of.
some people that really don't like me, and that's fine, right? But I am probably one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, right? And I'm very just open and honest and real with people. You know, that's just who I am and that's how I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't like me, like that's on you. That's how I look at it.
Yes, your personality is such. Like I said, you're prickly to begin. So you got to kind of push through some of that.
I mean, I think that's how it's been my whole life. Like I obviously I'm gay, right? So growing up is very hard as well,
Of
right?
course, yes.
And you have to make people like you. Like, why don't you like me? Because of this, and this.
Yes.
You give up at a point,
Yeah.
you know?
I think that's the biggest part that I have found that makes me angry is that if people judge people, especially about sexual orientation or just because they're different. And I think the thing that I have liked about you is like you didn't hide that you were prickly. Like you didn't cover it up or try to say something just to get people to like you. Like, I mean, you are very prickly, but that's who you are, and you just sort of like leave it out there.
Yeah.
And so I kind of knew what I was getting when I would talk to you about stuff. Like, and it was open, honest, and like you said, it's it's like olives. Like you can either like them or not like them, but we're not trying to pretend that the olive is like we're not buttering it up with like honey and trying to make it taste good. Like you just
Yeah,
are who you are.
I have no problem with a hard conversation, right? And I have no problem taking accountability, right? And I think a lot of people don't do that nowadays, right? And they run from it, right? It's not going to solve your problems. I'm that person that's like let's nip it right now and then move on, right? And I think that's how I've always been.
So at this point, for someone, let's suppose someone was just recently diagnosed with RA, like they just had it, like they're scared, they got the test, the blood work, and they're like, you know what, this is starting to happen for me at
Mhm.
this point. What would your advice be now that you've sort of dealt with it for a year plus at this point?
I mean, everybody's going to go about it their own way, right? So I
Yeah.
don't want to tell people like what they
It
should
doesn't
or
matter. Just
shouldn't
what
do.
give your advice the way you would do it, and like, or if you went back and had to do it, like, is there anything differently? Is there different that you would do, or tell people make sure you do this?
No, I would literally say don't change your life. Do everything that you can when you can do it, right? And unless you have to change it, just keep doing you, right? Don't let it define you, right? Even though I have RA, I'm still an athlete. You know what I mean?
Right,
I'm not an athlete with RA.
right. At some point, you're going to possibly deal with the fact that it's never going to get better,
No. Yeah.
and you're on these medications for a lifetime, and you're young. You're 40.
Mhm.
So, what are your goals in the future? Even though you don't know what's going to happen, you must still have goals, right? For your life, for what you want, personally, relationship wise, professionally, anything, like athletically. Like, so what are your goals, even though you have this thing sort of obscuring your future at this point? What is it that your goals are right now at this second? What are you working towards?
I mean, right now I'm really focusing on just getting better,
Okay.
right? I'd like to get back into the gym. I'd like to go be able to go hard again.
Yeah.
Um, and just friends and family and love and all of that. That's what I want, right? I was brought into the world to love somebody and love people and be there for people. And like, if I can keep doing that, I'm going to keep doing it. And that's what makes me happy. And that's what makes me keep going. You know, it's not about a job. It's not about like any of that. It's just being there, showing up and doing what I can when I can do it.
I don't think that's any more than what anyone else could ask for at this point.
Yeah.
Laura, legit, Romanek, I really appreciate the time that you spent. I know it wasn't easy to share, and uh, I've learned a lot just listening to you, sort of talking to you about your life. Can I post your Instagram handle if anyone wants to talk to you about like RA or any other
Absolutely.
experiences that they have? I'll
Hmm.
put that up there. And like I said, you're still beating 90% of the people at the gym on a good day. And I've seen you, and I always love watching you move at the gym. You are a great mover. Your mental attitude in the gym is as good as anyone, bar none. Like I've seen you push. And I really, really hope that the future holds good things for you. Um, that's that's what that would make me so happy to be able to see you do what you do at the highest level.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I would hope that too, for sure.
Yeah. Thanks. All right. Thank you, legit.
Thank you, Sam.